Hello everyone, I hope all of you are doing really well. Every single day we're getting one step closer to TBC Classic, and this is truly amazing. The things I will talk about in this video is things that I would actually recommend you to do before you hit level 70. Because if you wait to max level, then you will not get any experience from the quests and dungeons that I will tell you to do. Many people are also unknown of how important it is to do these before you hit max level, and this will cause the areas to become really crowded if you don't do them as fast as possible. Playing on a PvP server will also make everything a lot worse, but I will explain more about this later in the video. There's not really anything important to do from 60 to 64 besides spamming dungeons. Each dungeon will give reputation, and we will need the reputation with the different factions in order to buy heroic keys. These heroic keys will make you able to change the difficulty from normal mode to heroic mode. But you have to be level 70 in order to do heroics. Heroic difficulty will reward better loot, even some epic items, and a new currency, which is badges. These badges is used to buy level 70 epic gear. My friend Crix has a detailed guide about badges. I'll post a link to his video in the description. Alright, so we hit level 65, and now my dungeon group has something really important to do in the open world. We can head to Necrand at level 65, and here we can actually start a group quest. Depending on your gear, then you'll need a minimum of 3 players, 1 tank, 1 healer and 1 DPS, but I recommend that you do it as 5. This is also perfect if you have a dungeon group and you plan to take a break from dungeons. All the group quests that you will have to do will reward a decent amount of gold, but some also potions and bandages. The potions will become really handy at max level, and the final quest will even reward us with a rare weapon. I guess you can imagine what will happen if you do this at level 70. Many people will then be in this zone, and killing the bosses will be next to impossible on a PvP server, but also because it will be a mess when many people try to do this quest at the same time. And that's the reason that I recommend you do this at 65, also to make sure that you gain experience from the quests. What will I do at 66? My dungeon group and I will swap to a new dungeon, but this dungeon will require us to do a mandatory quest chain before we can actually enter the dungeon. The quest is started outside Caverns of Time in Tanaris. Accept the quest from this dragon and fly down. The follow-up quest will require you to follow an NPC for 10 minutes, but if you do this at level 66, then many people will still be in Outland content, unknown of how important it is to do this quest right now. I expect many people to do this quest at level 70, and this is going to be such a bad decision, especially on a PvP server. Starting this quest will give you a 15-minute debuff, where you cannot summon a new NPC. You can even get killed while you do this quest, and I guess you can imagine what will happen when you play on a PvP server. And that's why I hope Blizzard actually decides to do something, because this quest is going to be mandatory for the karazhan attunement. Completing the quest will unlock a new dungeon, which is called Old Hillspread Foothills. We now have a new way to continue our dungeon leveling. Pick up the quest for Old Hillspread Foothills and complete the dungeon. Once you have done this, then you will actually be attuned for a new dungeon, which is called Black Mirage. And this dungeon you will have to do for the final part of the karazhan attunement. So what this means is that when you hit level 70 and you are in the final part for the karazhan attunement, then you don't have to do the follow NPC quest and Old Hillspread Foothills. And what's even better is that we did this and gained experience at the same time. There's a dungeon that we will start doing at either level 67 or 68. The dungeon is called Static Halls. There's 2 quests we can pick up for this dungeon, and you can pick them up right outside the dungeon. These quests will actually reward some decent rare items, and reputation. There's a chest after the final boss. This chest contains a key that you can use to open a gate that prevents you from entering a new dungeon. This dungeon is called Shadow Labyrinth and will be important very soon. I recommend that you always speak to this vendor in front of the gate to Shadow Labyrinth, because this vendor sells some cheap modes, which will be really useful and something you can also resell to earn a decent profit. You don't have to do this dungeon right now, because very soon we will pick up a mandatory quest that will tell us to go back to this dungeon. You can start the karazhan attunement quest chain at level 68, so I recommend you to head right outside karazhan and pick up these two quests. One of the quests will give you a quest item, and this crystal we have to use in the underground. I'll show you the location in a moment. The other quest will tell us to collect 10 essence. You can collect them from the monsters in the underground. There's two different undergrounds. Both of them are located right next to each other. You can find the first entrance to the right, but at the left side there's actually also an entrance. I'll show you the left side first and where we have to use the crystal. Make sure to kill the monsters while you're down here, because these are the ones that will drop the essence. In the big room, make sure to turn to the right, and down here at the bottom is where we have to use the crystal. Once you have done this part of the quest, then make sure to head to the second underground. Go to the right and follow the way that I move. When you see the water, then you know that you're at the right location. Go to the water and use the crystal, and now you will complete the quest. Make sure to also collect all the 10 essence and then leave the underground. Head back outside karazhan and turn in the quest. The follow-up quest will tell you to find an NPC in Dalaran. Dalaran is located in Eldrick Mountains. Find this huge glowing bubble, and there is going to be a lot of houses. The house to the right is actually where you can find the NPC. Hand in the quest and pick up the follow-up. The follow-up quest will tell you to head to Shattered City, so now is the perfect time to use your Hearthstone and get back to Outland. Go to the middle of Shattered City and talk to the NPC Khadgar. Hand in the quest and pick up the follow-up. The follow-up quest will tell you to get the first fragment for karazhan. So where do we get the first key fragment? Well, that's in Shadow Labyrinth. And Shadow Labyrinth is the dungeon where we need the key in order to unlock the gate. So now we're ready to actually get the first key fragment. There might be another way to open the gate without the key. It will require you to die in front of the gate. Now you can ghost form, and you might even be able to pass the gate in ghost form. If this is doable, then you can open the gate, because on the other side of the gate there's a way to open it without the key. Now you have to clear Shadow Labyrinth, and once you have killed the final boss, then there's going to be an object that we can click on right next to the last boss. Click this object and this will spawn an NPC. This NPC we have to kill. Once you kill him, loot him, and now we have the first key fragment. Next we will have to head back to Shattered City. Pick up the follow-up quest, and this will tell us to get the second and the third key fragment. The third key fragment is going to be unobtainable at this point. We have to wait for us to get Flying Mount at level 70, and we also have to do a pre-quest. But the second key fragment is obtainable, and that's what we have to do right now. Head to Sankamarsh, and in the middle of Sankamarsh you can find the Coilfang dungeons. Head into the water, and in front of all the dungeons there's actually an NPC that we can talk to. This NPC will give us a quest for the dungeon Steamwald. And Steamwald is the dungeon we also have to do for the second key fragment. So now we have two quests for the same location. You can find Steamwald to the left. Follow the way I move right now, and at the bottom down here you can find the dungeon. Kill the first boss, and down here in the water is actually a hidden object. This object is where we can summon yet another NPC. Kill the NPC and now you can loot the second key fragment. So if you don't want to finish the dungeon, you could actually just leave the dungeon and move on. But I recommend that you finish the dungeon also for the other quest and for more experience. Make sure to hand in the quest in front of Steam walls. Now we will have to head to Netherstorm and do a huge quest chain. We have to do this quest chain in order to unlock something that will make us able to get the third key fragment. You can pick up the quest in Area 52 in the inn. Talk to one of these two NPCs and pick up the quest assisting the consortium. Now you will have to do a huge quest chain, and the first quest will tell you to find an NPC in Area 52. I will not show you the whole quest chain because I already have a guide for this, which I will post in the description below the video. Do notice that you can't finish the last part of this quest chain because you will need flying mount for that. So do all the quests that you can do and then do a few dungeons and hit level 70. Once you're level 70, then make sure to buy flying mount and finish the last part, because we will need this in order to do karazhan as fast as possible. I'll link the rest of the karazhan attunement in the description below the video with a tutorial on everything you have to do. So this is what I will do from 60 to 70, and also what I will do the moment I hit level 70. If you found this guide useful, then please consider subscribing, because it will help me a lot as a content creator and also make me able to make more guides in the future. As always, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.